Hello everyone, here is the screencast for the fourth summer assignment, a little bit late, so I apologize. As always, in bold, we have the goal that we're working on, that the student will be able to show how geographers use geospatial data, satellite technologies, and geographic information systems to organize and re-examine human and environmental patterns across space and time. So below in this assignment, you have two charts that possess geospatial data. For this particular exercise, we're not going to be working with geographic information systems or satellite technologies necessarily, but we do have geospatial data. And you have to ask yourself, how did the geographers who created the charts and graphs organize and re-examine human and environmental patterns across space and time? So I want you to work independently to think about and explain or show how the geographers accomplished the various tasks as expressed in the indicator. So below I gave you some definitions for organize, re-examine human patterns, environmental patterns, space, and time. So here in this chart, you are basically just going to say, how did the geographers in the charts organize human patterns across space and time? Here for space, here for time. Here, how did they re-examine those human patterns? And here, how did they re-examine the human patterns across time? And then the other one would be environmental patterns as opposed to human patterns. How do they organize them? How do they re-examine them? As an example, in this first box here, organizing human patterns across space. How did they organize human patterns? Well, here are several human patterns you can keep in mind. In the first chart, there's human environmental patterns. They're logging, they are engaging in agriculture, they are engaging in pastoralism. So the chart is showing you how this occurred. Again, how did the geographers organize the human patterns across space? And the space that they are keeping in mind here is the entire continent of South America. For the second chart, the indigenous territories and protected areas, you have two human patterns in this chart as well. Again, you're looking at human patterns up here. Human patterns you see in this chart would be how the indigenous people have moved around, how they have migrated, as well as what the more advanced areas, not the indigenous peoples, but the colonists who came into South America, how did they end up organizing? Because what they did was they protected certain areas. They're protecting certain areas for the indigenous people who live there. So here are the protected natural areas. Two things that are going on there. How did they organize it across space in this particular case? The spaces would be the various countries in South America that are in the Amazon region of South America. Not the entire continent, but just the Amazonian countries. So that's how the geographers organized the human patterns across this particular space. What you'll have to do as you look at the charts is think about how did they do it across time? How did they re-examine those human patterns? This is how they organized it, breaking it down by continent and activity here, breaking it down by the Amazonian region and by the various countries where you have not only indigenous peoples, native peoples living in those regions, but the protected areas that at one time were exploited by the colonial powers, but are now being protected. I hope this makes sense. Hopefully you'll be able to re-examine the human patterns as well as the environmental patterns as you continue to analyze the charts. Email me if you have any questions, and you are certainly encouraged to get in touch with other people who are taking this class and analyze the charts together. It's always better to have two pairs of eyes looking at this information and talking about it if you can do that. So, good luck.